We are all scientists today. We're going to try to answer these questions. And I don't like that this keeps stopping. So we're going to just try to see something invisible. So we're going to try to see carbon dioxide, which is usually invisible. Does anyone know what carbon dioxide looks like? It's actually right in front of your face right now. In the air in front of you, you have a bunch of carbon dioxide. So what does it look like? Like nothing, right? So today we're going to try to see it, okay? And then we're going to see photosynthesis. You guys have probably heard about that. That's how plants produce energy, and we'll go over that. And then we're going to try to see climate change, and that'll be Alessandra's experiment. Sound cool? So these are all invisible. We're going to see them today. First time you guys ever get to see them, maybe. Okay. So why do we need to see carbon dioxide? Any ideas?
Maybe we need to see carbon dioxide because carbon dioxide is like it I know I don't
It's okay.
Yeah, it's like the greenhouse. Okay, when there's too much carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, the sun like it damaged like our atmosphere like isn't as cool, like the sun gets in more. I forget.
Yeah, so if we have too much carbon dioxide, we'll have a greenhouse effect, and the Earth will heat up more so than it's more, or it'll be hotter than it has been in the past. Any other ideas? Why would we want to see? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do our experiment then. All right. And we're going to see carbon dioxide. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to make some carbon dioxide. And so what we're going to do is we're going to combine some vinegar with baking soda. What happens if we do that? Any ideas? And then we're going to have another part of our experiment. Can you guys see this candle right here? It's kind of small. Can you see it? Just barely. Let's see if I can move it closer. Here we go. All right. Can you guys see the candle all right? So I am going to extinguish this candle using only carbon dioxide. I'm not going to blow it out. I'm not going to put anything on top of it. I'm going to extinguish it with carbon dioxide. So let's start our experiment. It's fizzing up. And with our hypothesis, we're producing a bunch of carbon dioxide. What will happen if I turn this container on its side over the candle? It's filled with carbon dioxide. What's it going to do to the candle? Great. Okay, so really cool hypothesis. So we think this container is filled with carbon dioxide, and if I pour this invisible gas onto a candle, it's going to go out without me having to touch it. Let's see. You guys ready? Yeah. Nothing came out. It just went out. Isn't that cool? Okay, so that's the first experiment. All right, I'll share my screen one more time. So what happened here? Anyone want to try to explain what happened in the full thing? Give me the whole breakdown. Okay, we'll go ahead then. Mixed vinegar and baking soda, which made a bunch of bubbles or carbon dioxide. We poured it on the candle, and even though we couldn't see it, it put out the candle. It changed something in our world. So that's kind of cool. It's something invisible, kind of just doing stuff while we can't see it. And so that's kind of important because we're surrounded by carbon dioxide, right? We just went over this, it's like right in front of our faces, and we can't even see it. But we've been making lots of carbon dioxide without even knowing it. So you guys know how we make carbon dioxide? What are some of the ways we make it as humans? Okay, so we're going to talk about photosynthesis now. So who wants to give us a summary? What's photosynthesis? Why is it cool?
Because photosynthesis, we need to see photosynthesis because photosynthesis is how plants grow, and we need plants to grow because photosynthesis can plants need carbon dioxide to do photosynthesis, and when we have, and photosynthesis reduces a lot of carbon dioxide.
Yeah,
Like,
you got it. So through photosynthesis, plants can turn carbon dioxide, which causes climate change, and there's a whole host of kind of bad things, into oxygen, stuff we can breathe. And so that seems pretty helpful, don't you guys think? It seems cool that we could like just turn carbon dioxide into oxygen with these plants. Must have stopped. So Alessandra's going to show what she does now, which shows what these plants do in changing climate. We might have to rejoin the meeting first, though.
Time, but I do want to briefly share an experiment that I'm running here on campus that involves everything that Kyle just talked about. So he introduced you guys to photosynthesis, and he also talked a little bit about climate change. And so what are some of the things that are going on with climate change? What is one that Kyle has already mentioned? What's going on with climate change? Rising CO2. So we're getting a lot more CO2. It's getting warmer. And there's one that someone hasn't mentioned yet. But there's changes in weather patterns as well. So a lot of places are getting drier. We're not getting that much rain in a lot of really dry places of Earth, right? So deserts like San Diego, unfortunately, we're getting a lot drier and hotter here, right? So part of my experiment is I'm growing crops. Does anyone know what crops are? C-R-O-P-S, crops?
More plants?
Yeah,
Yeah.
plants. But do you know specifically what we use those types of plants for? Food, yes. So we eat food. We all need food, right? So photosynthesis is actually important for every living thing on Earth because we all need food, right? So plants need food, and animals need food, and humans need food, right? So we eat the plants for our food, right? So one of the plants that I'm growing are grapevines. So how many of you guys like to eat grapes? Grapes are pretty delicious, tasty and very sweet. Grapes also make wine and raisins, right? So maybe mom and dad like to drink wine a little bit. So it makes a lot of different types of foods. And so one of the things that I am testing is I'm using a growth chamber. I'm going to show it to you. So this is a growth chamber. There's a door right here, and there's plants growing inside. And right here on the screen, I can actually control the temperature, the humidity, the light, and even the carbon dioxide level. So I can control the entire environment in which these grapevines are growing. So I want to see if higher carbon dioxide and drought are going to change the way that grapevines photosynthesize. So what do you think might happen? What might be a hypothesis that you would have is if these grapevines are grown in high levels of carbon dioxide, what do you think would happen to photosynthesis? So let me remind you of that equation.
Maybe they'll photosynthesize more?
Yeah, maybe they'll photosynthesize more. So actually, CO2 is food for plants. This is what they eat. They eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all right? So just like you eat cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plants need CO2 to eat, right? So if you give them more food, maybe they're going to photosynthesize more. Now, what happens if you stop watering the plants? So look at the equation again. What happens if you stop watering the plants?
Yeah.
Then they don't photosynthesize as much because they don't have something that they need to like produce photosynthesize.
Yeah, so water is another part of that equation, right? So if you stop watering them or don't water them enough, maybe they're not going to photosynthesize as much, right? So those are a couple hypotheses, right? So increased carbon dioxide may increase the photosynthesis. and maybe reducing the amounts of water is actually going to decrease the photosynthesis in these grapevines. You guys what a grapevine looks like, and then I'm going to show you quickly an instrument that I use to measure photosynthesis. All right, so just wait right here. I'm going to go grab a plant. Actually, I think I'm going to show you guys what it looks like inside the chamber. So let's give you guys a little tour.
Whoa.
These are the plants. Is that cool or what? You get to grow these plants in there, and you get to control the environment entirely. So you get to decide how much food you want to give them through the CO2, and you can decide how you want the temperature. So I'm going to quickly show you guys a little instrument that I have. It's called the Lycor 6400. And so it's got a little clamp on it right here. And then this big box right here is the computer part of it. And it's going to give me the reading right here of the photosynthesis. So basically all I'm going to do is take a nice healthy looking leaf, and I'm going to clamp it with this thing. I'm going to hold onto it, and I'm going to read here on the screen, and it looks like the photosynthesis is going up, up, up. All right, it looks like it stopped at 12. That's a pretty good number reading right there for photosynthesis. So now we can unclamp that leaf. You can see that there's a light in here, right? It's producing a light, so it gives it that energy to photosynthesize, right? And it also releases a little bit of CO2 in here to give them some food. And then we get a little reading on here on the screen. So
Sorry.
I was just going to say that these guys are thinking like scientists now with the questions that they're asking. It's very impressive.
That's because they are scientists. You guys have your official science badge because you did science today. Any other questions?
More questions. Thank you for being here, Kyle and Alessandra. For the rest of us campers, we will see each other tomorrow at 1, okay? Sound okay? We're going from 1 to 1:30, and we're going back to Torrey Pines. Sound good? Okay.
Bye.
Bye,
It was good to
guys.
meet you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.